Hey guys, welcome back to Aves About Custom. So today we're going to do a repair on a Superman Wonder Woman statue. This is I think from a DC Direct from the 52. So what happened was somebody got this item and it broke off at the Wonder Woman leg and up here. So we're not going to go a full-blown repaint or anything like that. We're just going to pretty much do a repair, and we have to secure it though. Can't really just like glue this back onto here and then glue her leg in there. It's really not going to work. Sadly, it's kind of poorly designed because you have this little piece up here, like goes up around there, and then it's holding this much of a statue, you know, so it's that's kind of a lot for it to hold. So the plan is I'm going to Dremel into here, and I'm going to Dremel into here, and I'm going to attach this back to where it's supposed to be. Like I think it's like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the Wonder Woman and Superman back in there. I'm going to glue it. But what I'm going to do is to really secure it, I'm going to build up some of my Aves epoxy sculpt, which is to fix it. It's kind of a white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of build around and try to build up a little bit of a cloud to really secure it a little bit more. It's pretty much the only option I have to really get this going and fixed. This is kind of like a white translucent. It's, you know, it's got a specific texture. I got to try to match it as best as I can, but we're going to kind of fudge it a little bit because the person I'm doing this for is not really looking for like a full-blown, you know, repair that everything's got to match exactly the way it is. It's just he got this fairly cheap and he just kind of likes the statue and wants to repair it. So it's kind of like a middle ground repair. So we're going to just, you know, do a little bit of fudging. And I think at the end though, what I might have to do is kind of touch up the whole clouds though to kind of match what I do here. So I can't really match the paints from this to this because this is like translucent resin that they only threw some like blue highlights in, and then that's all they did. So I got to kind of fudge it and go there. But the good thing too is there's not a lot of damage on the figures. Just a lot of glue stuff around here on the foot area. So it's not really broken. It just looks like it's broken, but it's just glue. So what I might kind of do is drum out some of the glue a little bit too before I put it back in. I might drum out some in here too, and then this way when I attach everything, it'll set in pretty well. So it's going to be a straightforward repair. It's like I said, it's not going to be really that crazy. And then once it's all said and done, if there's any little spots on the figures that I need to touch up, I can touch up on those. Alright, so we're going to start attaching this piece right now and let this cure overnight. So for something like this, I like to use Magic Sculpt. Magic Sculpt is like Aves, but I find it's harder to sculpt with it, but it's great for securing stuff. And, you know, when you break an arm and you need to, like say you break an arm on a statue and you're rebuilding the shoulder or the elbow and you need to put something around the metal rod that you tremeled out, Magic Sculpt is great, and then you can sculpt over with Aves. So I love Magic Sculpt a lot for this. So at this point, what I like to do is measure out a rod going in here because I want a rod to secure these. So you figure this about, what I like to do is kind of mark it. Right about here is as far as that goes in there. And then when you mark this one, it's about that far. So what I do is I pretty much take that amount right there and I move it over to here. So about right about there is good. And then get yourself wire cutters. Just cut that off. And also you want to make a test. You always put the piece in there and you get an idea how far it is. Now, looking at it, maybe I could have went a little bit further with it. So I can take this piece and then cut a little bit higher. And I don't mind about cutting extra pieces because I've always using small ones, big ones, it doesn't really matter. So, but this could gone up too high now. Let's see. Just gotta get it at the right spot. Yeah, see, that's too high now. So we got to cut just a little bit off. Looks like some foam got stuck to it. Alright, so that's about... Yeah, so maybe we got to cut just a little bit more. It's kind of hard because this is going at an angle. It's not something that's going straight up and down. But it should work out pretty good now. So, alright. So at this point, take some of this Magic Sculpt. Start putting it in here. If you have a tool, you can kind of go in. Now Magic Sculpt works great with water. They don't have a solvent. If they do, I haven't actually found it yet. Tedious stuff, but it's just a matter of getting in there. Now you don't want to put too much in there, because the two things will happen. One, when you put the metal rod in there, some of it's going to squeeze up top, and then also when you put the other piece down, it may not hit. So we kind of want to keep it as flush as possible. But I'll be sculpting around it anyway to kind of secure it again, and because I have no choice on this. Alright, and then to kind of cut a little bit out of there. Okay, and we put the metal rod in that angle like that, because that kind of squeezed up a little bit. And then one more test, just to make sure we're kind of lining up correctly. Goes right about there. Okay, so next step is fill this in. Now I did accidentally cut a little bit right there. It's kind of hard to see with all this white stuff, but like if we push this in, it'll start squeezing out a little bit, so that's alright. Okay, so at this spot I also like to use some glue to help me keep it on for a while. So we got to make sure we're not too much over. Sure, that's going in a little bit that way. Perfect. So I do just use some of this BSI Gel Glue. Hit around here a little bit. You have the Insta set, which doesn't squirt anymore. You have to use the drip. And we just take this and we line up where it should go. Okay, so that's lined up pretty good. So take some of the Insta set and throw it around the edges. So now that I'm looking at it, what I might do tomorrow is, once this is all cured, I might kind of Dremel in this way a little bit, not another rod over here. It's kind of hard to see with the crack, but there is a kind of a crack and there's missing pieces around it, and they didn't have all the stuff to it. So like I said, I'm gonna have to build up around here, build up around the leg, and really get it attached, and then kind of paint it all together. It's just one of those things, but it's kind of messy in here at the moment right there, but once I kind of Dremel that out and add in the leg, we won't see it all. But so now we just gotta let that cure overnight, and then we come back and keep working on it. Alright guys, it's been a couple days. This is now secured with the Magic Sculpt. It's probably kind of hard to see in camera, but I did a lot of Dremeling in here to get a lot of the glue off that was there. So this piece goes on fairly well now, but the only issue is it's not going to stay if I try to put, like, you know, Aves or Magic Sculpt. It's going to fall over because it is still kind of heavy. So what I do is I have my BSI glue, and then I got the Insta set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of the glue here and I'm put a lot of glue there and set it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some Aves, and hopefully this will stay for a while. And I might actually hit a couple extra pieces of glue. You'll see what I'm going to do, because this is kind of top heavy. It's a really cool design, but this is kind of tricky to repair because I don't want to like put not enough glue on here and walk away and then come back like an hour later and it fell down and it broke more, you know. So we got to kind of toy with it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this part with some glue and then also on our foot. But first we got to make sure we don't open this up wrong and have glue squirting all over the place. And take this piece off here. Okay, so got to kind of work fast with this stuff. So let's put some, and I like the gel because the gel doesn't like bleed all over the place. That's one thing you don't want to happen. And I'm not worried about if I'm making it a little bit messy because I still got to rebuild the clouds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some in here as well. That should be pretty good. Cover that up, make sure we got the Insta set going. And then what we do is got to make sure we line it up. We don't want to put it in wrong. Okay. Alright, so we make sure that they're up high enough. And it's always kind of hard when you do this yourself. You don't have an extra hand. Start hitting this with some Insta set. Kind of hold it up this way. Now, Instaset, as long as you're not like rubbing it into the paints and going crazy with the Instaset, it's not going to ruin any of your paint, especially factory stuff. So, it's still, as you can see, it's still a little top heavy. So what I'm going to do is, there's a little bit of a gap in here because I'm going to refill this in anyway. I'm going to grab my glue and we're going to hit some glue in here. So that's going to get built out anyway. We really want to make sure we get this set. Okay, so still, even though the outsides of the glue, it's kind of a little bit messy in there. The outside of the glue is looking really nasty. I mean, you really won't want to have that display, but like I said, we got to put, I'm going to fill in Aves going around the area, and I'm actually going to wrap around the leg as well because I have to. I got no choice. Got to really secure this piece in. Now, as of right now, it's holding very well, but I'm still a little bit iffy about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze some glue back here as well. That's a great thing about Insta set. It really sets the piece. Alright, so it seems like it's holding very well at the moment, as you can kind of see, but I'm still a little bit weary about this. So I'm going to put them like this, or try to see like a good position, and I think that's probably going to be the best bet. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of dry this up a little bit. Gonna let this sit for like 5 minutes. I'm gonna go.
Yo, what's going on? Yo, what's going on?
Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Everything is secured. I got the clouds as close as possible to what it was looking like. It's very hard, but it's all going to be painted up anyway, so it really doesn't matter at this point. Off camera, what I'm going to do is when I'm done explaining this, I'm just going to clean up some Abe work underneath in here, only because I can't really do that with the camera showing because I got to get in closer, so it's can't really show anything what I'm doing there. But we got 2 steps after this. What I'm going to do is let this cure up overnight, and then tomorrow what we do is we pull out the foam box, and then we make sure that the foam box is secured with the statue, plus it's not hitting anything. Like, I'm not sure if maybe the figure shifted just a little bit. I'm not positive. So we got to make sure that this item goes in the box pretty well still. And then also, since I build out around this area here, we want to make sure that that's not scraping anything with the box, because if I go to close this item, you know, when I'm done painting it and I didn't make sure, I could probably break something or snap something if things are not lined up. So we always want to make sure the foam box is lined up before any type of paint work starts happening. So that's that next step tomorrow. And then after that, it's just a matter of masking off the figures and then painting up the clouds. And then after the clouds are all painted up, I think there's a broken hair piece, which I maybe fix on the side right now. If I got some extra Aves left, I have to see on the table. And then I think there's a nick on the Superman leg or cape or something I have to look at. Other than that, that's it. It's ready to go. So it's a simple fix for the client. He really likes the statue. He's not looking for a full-blown repaint or anything. He just wants to display it again. And I think the statue might have gone up a little bit in price-wise, where it was just cheaper to kind of have me put it back together and so he could put it on the shelf. So, you know, like I always tell people, just because something's broken or damaged or nicked doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You need to get another one. You could kind of play with it, redo it, and get it back on your shelf and do something with it. I don't know. You never know. So that's where we're at. I'm going to get this all set up tonight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll start getting this finished up. Alright, so we're ready to paint up the clouds. So I'm going to be using this Createx Colors Wicked White. This is pretty much my favorite new white now. It goes on really smooth, it's really tough, it doesn't crack. I like it a lot, so I think I've been using that a lot for everything on white, so it's going to be pretty good here. I'm going to probably mess around with some of this Liquitex Interference Blue, and then I got some of this Garage Kits Transparent Ocean Blue, because if you look at this way these clouds are, they hit a couple blues here, they hit a couple blues over here, and they kind of just sprayed around and just like walked away from it, you know. It's not really clean, or I don't know, it seems like it's just, you know, factory just threw some blue on there and walked away. Might not be able to see it in the camera much, but I'm going to kind of add a little bit more into it. We'll see how things go, but I want to try to get the white on there first and then just kind of maybe hit some interference, because if you look at this, it's translucent white, but it seems like they might have hit it with some kind of like interference blues on it too, or it might just be their resin, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to try to kind of come up with my own little thing, so let's see how this works out. Alright guys, so everything is all done. It's all set up. I repaired a couple pieces on the armor. I repaired some of the shoulder. It was just very minor touch-up things, so I really didn't need to see what I did. It was just a matter of mixing up some paint, hitting it with a airbrush real quick, and that was it. Other than that, everything's done. So the clouds are all set up. They stand pretty well. Sadly, I did lose the footage on doing the foam, but it really wasn't that much work for the foam. I don't know what happened. I had to get a new battery, so as you can see in the box right here, I did a little bit of a mark here, and I did a mark over here, and I used my cutter, and I cut out around there, because that was the only part. So the figure fits in there very well, no problem. So there you go. Hopefully this helped you guys out that, you know, something like this gets damaged, you still can salvage it. It looks a little bit different from everything else, but still be able to display it, and it's not the end of the world. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.